Securing the future of the security and resilience profession depends on investing, of course, in the next generation of talent and closing the gap between emerging professionals and experienced leaders. In our final session today, we're hearing about the Young Security Professionals Academy, or YSPA, an initiative dedicated to developing the next generation of leaders in corporate security. The YSPA creates opportunities for mentorship, learning, and professional growth, aimed at strengthening the global security profession. So joining us now to tell us more about the journey behind the Academy and its mission to bridge the gap between emerging talent and experienced practitioners, please welcome Lana Djurkin-König, founder of the Young Security Professionals Academy, and Julia Vincke, criminologist and senior corporate security executive. Thank you for joining us, ladies. Do you want to come and sit over here? Yeah, perfect. Great. Thank you. Thank you. So, Lana, let me start with you. Perhaps you could take us back before YSPA existed. What were you seeing or hearing that convinced you that somebody had to build this and that would have to be you?
Hi, everyone. I go a while back in this industry. I started working around 24 years ago. And I was what we say, a transitioning and a young professional in corporate security industry. I didn't even know it existed in 2012. But when I transitioned and being in my very early 30s, there were a couple of observations that really stuck with me for the rest of my career. And the first one was that the access for young and transitioning professionals to associations or to networks, to conferences was quite limited. And also even certification in that space were meant for people that were a little bit more senior in the career. And I thought to myself, fair enough. However, this is an industry, a profession that really thrives on relationships and on networks. You are supposed to be able to pick up a phone and benchmark in the middle of your crisis response. So how are you supposed to understand how other companies doing? How are you supposed to develop and design your network? Bear in mind that was 2012 and LinkedIn was really nascent and webinars and knowledge exchange looked a little bit different. And that was the first key driver. And then I thought what I observed as well is that we, over the years, have a knowledge drain. There are so many CSOs and senior security professionals that are going to leave this profession. But I think corporate security is really bad at capturing the knowledge and experiences of those security professionals. And I think when you ask the question why I thought it should be me, it was just a matter of opportunities that were coming my way. So as I was growing up in this sort of career, and when I became eligible to enter those associations and to do those certifications, what I started doing is really paying forward for the younger generation. So when I became an OSAC Germany steering committee member at large, I stood up the first event, and I do have to say that there are people that were there in 2019, and it just kept on growing. When the higher I got in my career, the more network I had, the more ability to pay back, to pay it forward. And all these people, the CSOs that work with us, the senior leaders, when you approach them and say, do you want to do something for the younger generation, they're all very, very happy to do so.
Thank you, Lana. Julia, let me come to you. When Lana brought this idea to you, you didn't just endorse it, you actually hosted the first ever YSPA. And in 2025, you signed the founding documents as well. Now, from your seat at BASF back then, what did you see that made you say yes?
Well, first of all, hello, everyone.
Oh, that should be, try it now. Can we just get the other microphone up? Oh, no, if you just, okay.
So first of all, hello everyone, and good afternoon. So thanks for having us for this not very conventional TAPA topic, but it's a matter close to our heart. So we're very happy to be here and talk about our passion. So, Lana and myself go back a long way. We are not only friends, but we share the same professional DNA, I would say, and we worked ourselves up the ranks, sometimes the hard way, but always supporting each other. And on that journey, we've been discussing that for years. What we were missing out, especially in our early career or mid-career, was that ecosystem that we could lean on. Like not only peers, but really mentors that were the helping hand and that we could approach. Because, I imagine when you guys started, like myself, it was not necessarily clear that you had access to your own CSO, let alone to global CSO of the leading companies in the world. And we saw that gap we wanted to bridge, not only to create an ecosystem where you can collaborate and speak openly and trustfully your mind, but also get in contact with the world-leading chief security officers. And we managed to do that with YSPA, and this is something we are really proud of.
Let me stay with you for a moment, Julia, and talk about what's special and different about it. There are dozens of programs, certifications, and conferences in this profession already. What did you see that nobody else was acting on?
It was pretty much what I said before, because you have a lot of conferences and formats, especially for the chief security officers, but they're closed shops, closed circuits. So chief security officers speak to each other, and the young talents in the pipeline, they watch from the outside. And this is also true for training programs, apart from the TAPA ones, obviously. But the training programs we see are like uniquely uniform, like barely they're like distinctive, they're all the same. And we wanted to create something that is innovative and futuristic and, kind of serves the very volatile world around us.
And Lana, can you maybe talk us through the design principle? I think you can use this one now. Once you saw the gap, how did you decide what YSPA would actually be, and what was it that made you know how to structure it?
So the design principle is, I would say, threefold. First of all, this is extremely practitioner-led endeavor. We are not association that is a typical association. We are not membership-based association. We are really a CSO curated content and community. It is an ecosystem, as Julia said, which is extremely multi-layered. I started, as I said, as a part of OSAC country, Germany, steering committee initiative as a CSO-hosted academy, and the word academy signals that there's a knowledge transmission, there's a knowledge exchange, there's a mentorship that's taking place on site, on the margins of the academy. But the second day of this CSO-hosted academy is this immersion into corporate security operations. So we went over the last 5 years to multiple CSOs, so many industries, and given an opportunity to young security professionals not only to get introduced to those senior leaders, but also to see how it's actually being done in these different companies. And I think one thing that is a bet that I made is that, this industry, this profession, and I'm not talking only about supply chain security, but global security, corporate security as a whole, functions even today as a double-layer society, I would say. There are people that have a traditional background, and then there are people that dropped into this profession by coincidence, and then there are people that actually studied security risk management and are very intrinsically motivated. And over the last 15 years, in 4 Fortune 500 companies, what I really discovered is that those people that do not belong to this traditional background often feel as imposters. And what I wanted to do together with my team is really to diversify professional background and made inclusion and diversification of professional background as a part of our principles. This is what we are doing because, as Marcel said, unless we are really robust and resilient and very fast and very modern, very agile, the people that we are fighting against are simply going to run us over.
Let me stick with you for a moment, Lana. Maybe you could just walk us through, in the sort of day-to-day functioning, really, what the 3 programs are, the Academy, Accelerator, and Incubator, that framework that you operate in, and who is making this real?
Who is making this real? And this is really important message. It's 8 women, not by design, simply by coincidence, that are driving this purely volunteer after 6 p.m. and on weekend effort that is really growing year on year. We have 3 programs, as that it's an ecosystem. The Physical Academy, we are standing up in September the Virtual Academy, because the Physical Academy is very small. It is a place of belonging, it's a place of community. You can't really have 700 people building this community. So it's very exclusive. So as we are in a knowledge transmission and knowledge conservation, we wanted to design something that would be accessible for people that cannot really be joining us. And then the third pillar, what we are going to be building in 2028, would be an incubator as well. So you see, it's a very multi-layered, but still very, let's say, organically growing, volunteer-led association.
And Julia, from the perspective of the CSO, what's the difference that YSPA is making for the young people inside any organization that maybe as a CSO they couldn't make themselves?
Couldn't make as a CSO themselves?
The difference
between me being a CSO and what YSPA can describe. Okay, so as a CSO, you barely find the time to have a deep dive into your organization and like screen your talents, because you're caught up in your daily business and kind of securing the world around you. But you can do mentoring, you can do sponsoring, you can open doors in your own organization. But what you cannot do is to provide that multi-layered ecosystem we were talking about, because you just don't have the ability to provide that running your own organization. So I would say that YSPA is also a support function for CSOs to kind of promote the pipeline that is coming up on the horizon.
I need to add something that I think is really important for people to understand. We are really not a certification, and we are really not a conference. We are focusing really on practitioner-led, CSO-curated, strategic corporate security leadership topics. That's actually what's making us rather unique. So we are accelerating knowledge and understanding of those young and transitioning professionals to be able to support their CSOs and their leaders better, to understand what is the point of view of business and how to think strategically.
We'll start wrapping up and just look a little bit ahead to the future as we do that. Lana 2026 is essentially locked in now, but the accelerator pilot launches in September. The academy is locked, but looking ahead to 2027, what's the opportunity for the companies in this room?
So first to clarify, the 2026 is somehow foundational, because we moved away from OSAC, I think 2 years ago, and became international collective. I call it security collective. And then in February this year, we became non-profit, German headquartered non-profit association. And in order to stand up Accelerator, what we really needed is a little bit of, let's say, playing capital. So there have been a couple of global leaders, and some of them are actually sitting in this room, that have been approached and said, okay, do you guys trust me enough to be able to give me a little bit of money so that we can a little bit try to actually stand up what we believe that this industry is missing? And those are the companies that took a risk with us. We call them our corporate founders. And basically, we are somehow locked into a certain amount of capital and certain amount of like try and error in 2026. We have, and this is a big really message for the audience, in next week, announcement coming up for the YSPA 2026 that's going to be bombastic. So what I hope to see from this room is maybe to really watch that space and send their young security and resilience, supply chain resilience professionals to us for our annual 2026 Academy. And then next year, when we have piloted our accelerator and when we have learned from the feedback, we would like to actually launch this as a product. Because we as an association, we really don't want to latch on to donors and sponsors. That's nice, and you can give us all your money as much as you want, we would take it. And the rules of engagement that are a little bit different. We do not necessarily work with everybody in a way. We have our rules of engagement that are really integrity and principles based. Therefore, we are really poor as mice for now, so we need to figure out how to get rid. No, I'm joking. So what these companies can do is watch that space, and in 2027, approach us if you are interested in working with us, partnering with us, supporting us. We are really moving from this volunteer-led after 6 p.m. and on weekend. We would like to professionalize ourselves, maybe learn from TAPA how to do this, and maybe, just being able to create an ecosystem with the supply chain security community as well.
Just quickly, what's the best way to watch for that announcement on Tuesday?
LinkedIn? LinkedIn.
Yeah. Okay.
It's going to be Tuesday.
Julia, final question to you. If you could speak to every leader in this hall and give them just one thing that you'd like them to do this quarter to foster young talent in their own organisation, what would that be?
Yeah, just support your talent. Nominate someone or two. Like, spend the whole attention on budgets and programs. Just spend a little bit more time on identifying really good talent. Tell them what you see in them, because they might not know. Open doors to them, and if you want to go next level, then provide them with a seat at YSPA.
And finally, to you both, if you could describe YSPA in 3 words. Julia, I'll come to you, and then Lana, I'll finish with you. What would those 3 words be?
I would say growth. I would say community and advance.
I do have to say only one word that actually hit me now when you asked me a question. Last year when we were in Novo Nordisk in Copenhagen, somebody said, we were sitting on a bar and we were having drinks after everything finished, and somebody said, YSPA is a culture. And I found this so groundbreaking, because culture, you cannot assert culture, right? Like, this is an adjective that has been given to us by our alumni. And so I would say YSPA is actually building a culture.
Fantastic. Thank you both so much, and we're all looking
Welcome.
forward to Tuesday. Please join us in thanking Julia and Lana. But Lana, perhaps you could both stay with us on the stage.
1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2.
So
I would say YSPA, partnership, and TAPA. Thank you.
Good. If you just stay, that would be wonderful. Thank you. The themes we have just heard about, developing talent, supporting professional growth, and investing in the future of the profession, provide the perfect bridge to this final part of the day. The Young Supply Chain Resilience Professional of the Year Award 2026 recognizes emerging professionals who are already making an outstanding contribution to supply chain resilience and security. And the award is sponsored by TAPA, EMEA, and the TT Club. So I'd like to invite Torsten Neumann and Marcel to join us back on the stage. Marcel, do come up and join us. And as I said, Lana and Julia, we'd love you to stay to be here to celebrate this year's recipient. Now, this year's winner has been selected for their paper on improving waste management in supply chain security to reduce risks of counterfeiting, unauthorized production, tampering, and black market resale. Torsten, I'm going to hand over to you to announce our winner. And I don't know if you want to add a word about why they were so deserving. Over to you.
Yeah, so let me start. I think the first thing which is quite important, as already said also by Lana and Julia, is the next generation and the young generation is the most important thing, because we need to train the people, we need to learn from them. It's not always that they learn from us, but we also need to listen and learn from them. I'm always proud to speak with young people. That's the reason why I'm already also a lecturer at universities for the last 14 years. Okay, sometimes I'm a little bit surprised what they say, but sometimes I love what they say. And that's the reason why we started together with TT Club, the Young Supply Chain Resilience Professional of the Year. We had a lot of interesting, how do you say that? Applications, submissions. We are reading all of them. We studied all of them. And we decided on a clear winner.
Maria Accardo, Philip Morris, Manufacturing Technology.
So a big applause for Maria. Please come on stage. Okay. So Maria, congratulations. It's an amazing one. So here's number 1. Here's number 2. This way. We need some pictures. First us. And then I would like to ask Gino and Herbert to come on stage. Because you are up here. Some of you are up here. Right? Perfect. Gino?
And now you see why it's so important to have young professionals.
Yeah,
We're old folks.
Takes ages. The youngsters already been here in 2 seconds, you know. Okay, perfect. Thank you. Thanks
you.
again. Thanks also to Julia.
Thank you, ladies.
Thanks to Lana.
Thank you very much.
Thanks to all of you.